Hey everybody, just wanted to say that the Astral Chain video is still happening. It was just that I had this fun idea that I could throw together in a couple of days. So here it is. It's theory on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with endgame spoilers for the entire game. Let's go. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is my favorite game of all time, and naturally, because Chugga Conroy has been let's playing it, I've had the game on my brain a lot. I could really talk forever about this game, but today I want to focus on a theory I thought up. Rare blades and common blades are a bit of a conundrum in the universe of Xenoblade 2. The whole system makes sense on a gameplay level, but how does this function in terms of the story? I was wondering this, and after some thinking, I am certain that I cracked it. I have two theories. The reason I'm working with two is because whether or not a blade is rare is never explicitly said to be a result of one thing or another. This kind of soft world building gives us two headcanons to work off of. Headcanon A. Whether a blade is rare or not is dependent on when their core crystal is awakened for the very first time. Or headcanon B. All rare blades begin as common blades, and once they have bonded with a few drivers, they gain a unique appearance. I have no decisive evidence in either direction, so I'm going to make two theories, working off each headcanon. Both theories have a similar conclusion with different details. This first theory works off of headcanon A. If rare blades are rare as soon as their first awakening, then it's likely that rare blades are just a result of random chance. It's a rare occurrence that a driver will imprint strongly upon a fresh core crystal, and this becomes a rare blade. And rare blades have a unique appearance along with stronger abilities than a common blade. The blade then retains this appearance and abilities throughout all further drivers. We have plenty of evidence that suggests that blades do not change appearance if theirs is unique. Bridget and Aegean come to mind, as after 500 years they look the exact same. They are likely to have had at least a dozen drivers in that time if Ardanians have a similar lifespan to that of humans. There are also a bunch more instances of this, such as Percival being recognized by a friend of a previous driver, and Cassandra being recognized by someone her old driver met. A similar rule applies to Rock, Wolfric, and all of the blades you get from quests, because you see them in their same appearances before and after you add them to the party. I personally don't like this theory because it works off an assumption that the original driver is the most important to who the blade is, when that doesn't have a strong basis. I thought this theory was true for a while until I realized in the way that I thought of it, it was wrong. I thought that since Malos and Mithra had the same unique appearances since their original awakenings, that this means all rare blades have the same designs forever. Then I realized this thinking was flawed because the Aegises are a walking pile of exceptions because they work with different rules than normal blades. Now onto the theory I like more. Under headcanon B, when blades get enough data in their cores, they gain a unique appearance. As far as I could find, nothing contradicts this assertion. All the rare blades we see either have a concrete previous driver who had them with unique appearance, or we know nothing of their previous drivers because it's not important to their blade quests. Another thing that can apply to this theory is that their unique appearances and their abilities take influence from their previous drivers before they become a rare blade. A lot of rare blades are mostly humanoid with some animal traits. This likely plays into how core crystals accumulate data from their drivers and catalog the DNA of all rest creatures. Basically, nothing contradicts this headcanon directly that I could find. This theory presents the hypothesis that a rare blade is a stage in a blade's life cycle. A blade becomes a common blade as soon as it is first awakened after a core develops from a titan's womb. The rare blade then goes through a cycle of being bonded to a driver, that driver dying, and then repeating for the blade to accumulate data. After the core collects a certain amount, it becomes a rare blade. Then, once the blade reaches an threshold of data, they go into a titan's womb to begin to transform into a titan. Essentially, this makes a rare blade a step in the life cycle of blades and titans. Think of blades as a whole as being the larva in the life cycle, and the distinction between rare blade and common blade is that common blades are closer from hatching and the rare blades are more mature. This also makes me want to bring up that I don't think the terms rare blade and common blade have actually been used in universe. Please feel free to correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think it's just entirely a gameplay term. Please feel free to correct me if I've missed something. This game has a lot of dialogue. This now begs two questions. First, why did the Tornans not know about this? They revered the cycle of blades becoming titans, so why would this not be known by them? I think it to be a matter of the amount of time. The life cycle of blades and titans, even without this theory, takes a long-ass time, to put it bluntly. Bridget has had no doubt several drivers between Torna and XC2, and she has yet to become a titan. It is also known that titans live for a long time, and Gramps said it would take around 200 years to become an adult from his larval form. So with him becoming an adult in Torna, that would be at least 700 years old in Chapter 1. Simply no one would know because it would require generations of data to be collected to get any conclusive evidence. Then there's the other question. How are blades seemingly 100 to 1 if this is a stage in their life cycle? Even if you make the reach that being a rare blade is a proportionally small amount of a blade's life cycle, then there would still probably be more of them, right? I think the reason for this is that the part of the puzzle that is missing is Indal's involvement with blades and all rest. We know that Amalthus does cleansing with core crystals. The advertised purpose is that it makes core crystals easier to bond to. The real purpose, however, is that it removes data from the core crystals. This is explicitly stated to be the cause of the shortage of titans in all rest. The same explanation can also apply to why rare blades are rare. Without the data accumulating in the core, the blade cannot become a rare blade. Amalthus removing the data halts the cycle. No new rare blades developing, along with cores being harvested from titans more and more by the day, would flood the world with common blades, making rare blades scarce in comparison, and thus rare. Indal's control over blades presents another factor. They can switch around whatever cores they really wanted. Ah, fuck! Indal's control over blades presents another factor. They could switch around whatever cores they wanted to keep rare blades for themselves. Any rare blade that a random driver happens to awaken would be ripe for the taking once they die. This premise that Indal takes cores for its own purposes could also be applied to Headcanon A. Many of the rare blades we see in-game are in some way incapable of being taken by Indal. Bridget and Aegean would be foolhardy to try and steal from the Empire, even if they are cleansed at all. The same probably goes for Pandoria, because her ability to communicate with Genbu might be a thing that was developed by a previous driver in the royal family, and then she became an heirloom. Sheba too is an heirloom, and she would raise too much suspicion to steal. Pretty much every other rare blade has something that means either Indal couldn't get their hands on them, or they didn't think of them as large enough assets to keep. All the gacha blades are either obtained from treasure chests that were there for a long time, or via killing monsters that likely killed the previous driver. Really, it has a lot more evidence that's worked into the narrative, and I think that it plays a lot more nicely with a lot of the thematic elements from Xenoblade 2. Change and growth are massively important. Rex had to grow as a person to become worthy of being Pyra and Mithra's driver. Amalthus preventing the world from changing was leading to its doom. I think that blades and drivers learning and growing together make sense on both an in-universe level and a metatextual level. Hey, hello everybody. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. This was super quick to throw together, so I'm glad you watched it all the way through. Astral Chain video is still coming by the end of March, definitely. Until then, have a very wonderful time, and goodbye.